Hey guys, this is Troy from Cape Ann Conversations. I've got Ron with me today from the Computer Doctor. Ron, I'm going to jump right into it and let you give yourself a chance to tell us about the Computer Doctor, how you got your start, and what you guys do.
Great. Thank you so much, Troy. It's great being here. I started a long time ago in business, and all the while, through all the years of working, I was gathering technology information and using that information to have clients improve their presence and use of technology over the years. And then in the late 90s, when I had a corporate job, I decided to start the Computer Doctor for fun. So I had a lot of teachers that were interested in getting software for their Apple IIe computers. So we did that, which was great. And then in 2001, I started the company on a full-time basis in September of 2001. So it's been great. We've been going forward ever since. Our clients are very diverse and dynamic. We do 50% brick and mortar businesses and then 50% home users. The home users are interesting because it's both the mom and pops and the grandmas and grandpas, but it's also professional businesses, insurance agents, beer distributors, for example, people that are doing social media that work out of their house. So they need proper technology to do their job.
Yeah, I bet even more so today than before with COVID and so many people working from home. There's even more people running into like home computing problems or small business problems. There's even more 1099s and freelance workers with more complicated technology problems.
Yeah, COVID was very, very interesting for us because at that time, people were now working from home and they had very limited technology. Like the home computer is something the mom or dad used for an hour every night after coming home from work. Now they're sitting at it every day, 8-10 hours a day, saying, this isn't going to work for me. Plus, the kids are home. The kids need technology. So we did a lot of work. We sold a lot of systems satisfying their needs, which was great. And a lot of it is network-based. Like in one case, a mom in Newburyport wanted her husband to build up an office space in their attic. And there was no internet up there. So we were able to install the proper internet solution so that the mom upstairs got full service as well as the kids downstairs. So it was kind of fun.
So take me back to the beginning of how you got started in tech. What was this? Was this working for HP before you started this business as a consultant in the industry for technology? Where did your technology bite happen?
Well, actually, it goes back to the 70s when I started working. And 3-4 years into the business that I was managing for an enterprise, we needed a billing machine. In the 60s, no one ever used the word computer or technology. I mean, it wasn't apropos at the time. And so that introduction to getting a billing machine was my first view of anything that had, quote, bits and bytes in it, wires and things, other than a car. So that's how I got started. And that system let me broaden my experience with technology. I did some designing of input screens, if you will, and then kept training myself on different technologies. And that just helped me expand my presence in different companies. I work for some very large organizations in the United States, worldwide print publishing companies, financial services institutions. And then in the late 90s, I went to work at DEC to do the Y2K thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which, as we know, was a non-event, thank goodness. And then HP had bought Compaq, which had bought DEC. And then the world changed in 2001. So I took that summer off and then started the computer doctor on a full-time basis. So I hired some guys that could do repairs, and I was on the road every day trying to get new clients and then service those customers as we move forward. So the business grew now. We have 5 people that help us solve hardware and software problems. I try to do all the house calls, and again, it's all kinds of things that people run into. Bad screens, bad printers, computers that don't work. We really just help them solve any kind of problem they have. We also work with phones, so we do the Android thing as well as PC and Apple, which is very unusual. Most of my competition, the ones that are left, only do one or the other. They'll do a PC or a Mac. So we pride ourselves in doing all the platforms.
Let's jump into some of the details on the business today. Where do you typically service? Is this north of Boston, New Hampshire border? What's your service area to begin with?
We always say it's north of Boston, basically at all of Essex County into southern New Hampshire. So we do have some clients a little bit west, like Lexington, but we try not to go that far because it's a lot of miles, on the car. But we do now, in today's world, provide a lot of support remotely. So I'll have clients that have moved to Florida, but they still want to work with the computer doctor. So we set up a time and I can remote into their system, solve their problem, and everybody's happy.
As long as they're on the Wi-Fi.
Exactly. As long as they're on the internet, right? We put software on their computer that allows us to connect if they confirm the connection. And it works out great. Everybody's problems get solved.
Who's an ideal customer for you? I know you talked about working with some small businesses and some, personal, PCs or network areas, but who's sort of the typical customer that you are working with?
I think that's a little difficult because we find everybody's a great customer. And the problems vary, even though they sound the same, like my printer doesn't print. The approach to it could be a little different depending on the computer and the user. Some users are very aware of what their computers are doing and what's going on in the background. And then some clients have no clue at all, which is okay. So we help them in either case.
So you may have an individual who can't get their printer to connect at home. You may have a small business that can't get their network went down and they've lost the Wi-Fi connectivity and therefore their business is losing money because they can't get their team online.
Correct. So they need some support. And we would make a house call in that case, particularly in a small business where we know it's more urgent than ever to get their systems up and running and their network in good shape. And we do upgrades to networks as well, particularly in small businesses, so that they have the fastest and best network capability for all the computers in their network. And a lot of these organizations are going remote now. So their salespeople, for example, who don't have to come to the office anymore, can remote in and get their systems and information when they need it.
I'm imagining security is like the most important thing that you worry about, but other people just don't know how to manage it. You saw this stuff happening. Was it CrowdStrike?
Right, last Friday.
Had the airlines go down. I'm assuming you're always pitching that to whether they be your small businesses or your individual people. Can you tell people, give them a little story on what they should be doing?
Well, the thing that we find the most lacking in a lot of environments is no backup.
Okay.
So business people, very great companies, very active, are using their systems every day. And then when that computer goes down, the first thing we ask them, if this is a new customer, is, well, where's your backup? We'll just get your data back. And then the problem starts and it snowballs and it gets, can get kind of ugly. So we find a great opportunity to educate everybody that we encounter. You have to have good security, as you mentioned, but you also have to back up your information. Just going to iCloud or just going to OneDrive doesn't do it all. So we want to be there to tell you what it's doing and not doing, and have you make sure that the system is backing your data up, your personal data. You don't want to lose those wedding photos and information and pictures that are priceless. You can't go back to Italy 20 years ago and capture that picture again. It's on your computer. We want to make sure that it's safe and captured so that if anything did happen, we can get it back.
Yeah, what happens if OneDrive goes down?
You're stuck, which is why we're not great OneDrive proponents, but for those that use it, we give them a thumbs up. We just ensure that there is a backup.
You have to just briefly tell the listeners about your time as a radio show host as well,
sure.
because it's so unique to what we're doing with this podcast.
Yeah, it is. This is awesome.
But it's part of your history in the computer
It
world.
is. It was great. About 5 years ago at 104.9 FM, we had a Saturday morning radio broadcast. So we did the show in the middle of the week. We recorded it, and then it went on the air Saturday morning. And in that broadcast was our contact information. So people liked the show or they had a question about what was delivered, they could email or call us and say, Ron, can you talk more about, XYZ? We really enjoyed doing that. And it also, I think, gave the listeners a different perspective on technology and their systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And going forward, how do people find you today? I know you have your online presence.
Right.
What's
we have
the
a
URL?
website. It's computerdoctorusa.net.
Perfect. And you also were telling us before the show about having these drop-off locations. When you talk about convenience in today's world, this is a really unique differentiator, I think, for your business.
Yes, thanks for mentioning that. We do always focus on the client, the consumer. So we have 5 drop-off locations on the North Shore. And this is, it gets used almost every day. So someone's driving around, they put their computer in their car, they're on the way to work, and they go, oh, let me call the computer doctor. I happen to be in Topsfield, and see where I can get rid of my computer to get repaired. So we do have a Topsfield drop-off location, Newburyport, Danvers, and Ipswich. So it's exciting that they can then give us their problem. We pick up the computer, solve it, and then get it back to the client. We try to do everything within 48 hours, if humanly possible.
So that's really good. I mean, if people are paying attention here, Ron can remote in and fix the majority of the problems when he's set up with a remote access. Or if you have something that is broken to the point where remoting in is not possible, you can always drop it off at a location. Ron and his team will pick it up.
Or we'll do a house call.
Or they'll do a house call.
Right.
There's no excuse.
Exactly.
Why not to work with the computer.
We're here to help you solve your problems. And we do, recently we started to fix screens. So iPad screens and phone screens. So we're getting a lot of calls now about my child dropped the phone or dropped the iPad on the floor. The dog sat on it, and now it's shattered. How do we get it fixed?
And you'll replace the screen.
We'll replace the screen. We'll pick it up. We'll look at it and give them a quote on the cost of the repair.
Will you help parents set up parental controls?
Oh, sure. We do that a lot.
Oh,
absolutely.
That's amazing.
Any software that can help you become more efficient and more secure, because parents are really concerned about children these days have access, if they're on the internet, as you know, they have access to everything.
Yeah.
So you want to, quote, clamp down, unquote, what they can see and when they can see it, what they're allowed to do. Roblox isn't, the end-all, be-all for kids. They want to do other stuff. So proper software will help them do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all can admit that the computers are the future. The kids got to learn how to use these computers. It's going to be a part of their lives, and proficiency on them is going to be great. But we live on Cape Ann too, so it's like, let's set some parental
Exactly.
controls. Let's cut this thing off and let's get these kids out there on the Essex River or something.
I agree
you know?
with you. I wholeheartedly agree with you. But again, technology is everywhere. I mean, look at your phone. Driving someplace, you're using your phone to connect to a map to get to the right location.
Totally.
So to me, it's a real positive tool, but it's just a tool.
Yeah, I mean, we're using it constantly. I use it to run my own business. I'm running it
Exactly.
here remotely from my own business from a phone.
Right.
I mean, that's insane. And it's phenomenal. But if it goes down, it's a major life problem for me now just to
Right.
run my business.
That's why you have to have backups.
So, okay, I want to make sure we get an opportunity for people to know how to find you. So we've got the URL. You've got social media handles as well.
Yep.
You have physical location.
We have our drop-off locations.
Drop-off locations.
Right. And our contact phone number is 978-312-1261, and that will also ring on my cell phone. That's my office phone, but it rings on my cell, and we really work as often as the client needs us.
Yeah,
My wife doesn't like me to say that. She says it's 6 o'clock, put the phone down. But we're trying to help clients be successful and be comfortable in their technology.
Yep. The word on the street is if you call that number that Ron picks up. So everybody go test that and tell somebody about Ron as well. Ron, it's been a pleasure to have you on here.
It's been great. Thank
You've
you.
been doing this business since 2001.
Yep, full time.
I would say it's a success, bud. And,
Thank you.
And thanks for being part of Cape Ann.
Well, thank you. We love being here.
Glad to have you here, bud.
All right, thanks.
Thanks.